Who has a dog?
Am I echoing now?
No, that's
Good.
me.
Two of my voices would just not be healthy for any of us. So let's get started with the Planning Commission at 6 o'clock. Good evening, and on behalf of the City of Independence, welcome to this virtual Planning Commission meeting for October 27th, 2020. For the convenience of those participating in tonight's meeting, I'd like to remind all in attendance, both commissioners and the public, to please mute yourself when you're not speaking to prevent distraction and unwanted disruption. Staff will be enforcing this and monitoring those in attendance for questions during public hearings. And during the public hearing portions of this meeting, staff will call on those who have requested to speak in the order that they signed up. Following that, anyone else who wishes to speak will be recognized. For those of you who wish to speak tonight, please remember to address all comments and questions to the chair and keep your comments brief and on point. If you agree with the previous comment, simply indicate your agreement. To expedite tonight's meeting, I will ask all of those who wish to testify or believe they might like to please be sworn in by raising your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth before this commission? If so, please unmute yourself and please answer, I do. City, you might have to unmute everybody. Just raise your hand if you agree. Just put your hand up. Thank you. Okay, to make sure that commissioners are here, will the city please call roll?
You get rid of that thing. Okay. Commissioner Dreer? Here. Commissioner Ferguson? Here. Commissioner Michelle?
Here.
Commissioner Preston?
Here.
Commissioner Weir? Commissioner Weir?
He's here. I just think he can't answer.
His mic's on.
Yeah.
Joe? Here is. Commissioner Wiley?
Here.
Chairman McLean?
Here. Okay, thank you. Our first case tonight is case number 20-125-01, rezoning preliminary development plan for 4580 South Bass Pro Drive. They have asked to continue this case until November 17th. Can I get a motion for that, please?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
In the case of case number 20-125-01, so stated, we move that be continued to November 17, 2020.
Okay, do we have a second?
A second.
I think it was Heather. Might have been a tight race, but.
I defer.
You just got to be faster, man. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Dreer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson? Yes. Commissioner Michelle?
Yes.
Commissioner Preston?
Yes.
Commissioner Weir?
He's
Still
gone
now?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Wiley?
Yes.
Chairman McLean?
Yes. So case number 20-125-01, rezoning and development plan of 4580 South Bass Pro Drive is continued to November 17th. Okay, Our next case, our next public hearing is case number 20-100-10, rezoning of 1026 West 23rd Street with Manuel is it Gartona or Garzona?
Garzona.
Thank you. Seeks to rezone the property from District C2 General Commercial to District C3 Service Commercial. So staff, will you give us a report, please?
Okay. St. Maya's Repair requests to rezone this property at 1026 West 23rd Street South from C2 General Commercial to C3 Service Commercial to permit general motor vehicle repair. So, as you can see from the vicinity map here, it's as you're going west on 23rd Street, just as you go underneath the railroad bridge before you get to Chrysler, there's two different auto repair businesses here, and theirs is the one there on the right, there on the north side.
Correct.
Okay. And here's the surrounding zoning. So I've encircled that property there. And you can see the one to the left. And it's zone C2 as well. All the properties to the east and along the corridor are zoned C2. And then we have some industrial and other zonings on the to the west beyond the railroad bridge there. The comprehensive plan envisions this area as residential urban neighborhood is what this designation is. So, and here's an aerial photograph of that property. So it sort of shares at least one of the driveway entrances with the property to the west, and you can see it's across the street from Assembly of God Church that's to the south, and the house that appears in this picture to the east no longer exists. That's a vacant lot. Those are vacant lots immediately to the east. And of course, there's the railroad bridge and Chrysler Stadium on to the west. This is the site plan that they actually had approved about a year ago when improvements were made to the building when they were first made improvements so they could have a light auto repair business at this location. The applicant requests a change of zoning for this limited or light motor vehicle repair business to permit a general or heavy motor vehicle repair. Specifically, the applicant has been doing light repair work on mid-size work trucks, i.e., F-150s, that kind of thing, and would like to do heavy auto repair work to the same kind of vehicles. Limited motor vehicle repair encompasses basically more basic work like oil changes, brake jobs, glass installation, and detailing. But with general motor vehicle repair, you can do more complicated, heavier repairs, repairs on large trucks, body work, of course, painting, engine overhauls, and transmission work. And this rezoning request would enable them to do that, if granted. The site sets back from 23rd Street, and the area is flanked by woods and the railway. Proper screening and landscaping. This use shouldn't be too intrusive. There will not be any new construction. However, previously approved landscaping, parking, and handicap parking plans must continue to be met. Any missing landscaping or handicap signage will need to be replaced. So we'll go through this real quickly. So this is looking straight on at the property to the north. And then the other light auto repair business is there to the west, adjacent to them. And this is looking another angle at that neighboring property, as well as the railroad track going across 23rd Street to the west. This is to the southwest, or basically directly across the street. And then this is looking back up the hill toward Nolan Road, east up 23rd Street. And this is the vacant land to the east of the applicant's property. So
Correct.
so that's a quick tour of the neighborhood. Staff recommends approval of this case, and I'm ready to take any questions you may have.
Okay, commissioners, before the applicant gets a chance to speak, do you have any questions of the city?
What, this is Commissioner Preston. What's the size of that lot? Did I miss that?
I have it here on this application, I think. It's a little over 2 acres.
And that usage, there's sufficient concrete at this time for vehicles that are being serviced?
Yes.
Am I correct? There's already, this is an ongoing shop, correct?
Yes, they have a license for light auto repair right now.
Mm-hmm.
A business license for that.
This was previously a car wash, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
Is the adjacent business a light service or the heavier service?
It's light
It's light.
and is currently C2 as well.
Okay.
Does the city staff believe that all current screening, landscaping, et cetera, is currently in compliance?
There may be some missing landscaping. I need to go out there and check. If that's the case, it's an ongoing, enforcement thing that we do. If they're missing landscaping, we will send him a letter stating what landscaping is missing, and he'll need to put that in if something is missing.
Understood. Thank you.
We do that anyway, unrelated to this new case.
Okay, would the applicant like to give us some additive information? Please state your name and your address.
Manuel Gonzana, 1026 West 23rd Street, Independence, Missouri, 64055. And just wanted to highlight when we requested for heavy duty work, it's just for mid-sized trucks like F-350s and F-250s, because our customer base has changed to more diesel trucks and they require more work and more time. So in order to stay in compliance with the city. That's why we are applying for the rezoning, and that's just what I wanted to specify.
For someone who doesn't know trucks very well, can you please give me a layman's answer for what an F-20 truck is? Like an example?
F-250.
Whatever you-
F-250 is it's a mid-size super duty truck that mostly like tow trucks or recovery trucks, but nothing like semis or anything like that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Does anybody have any questions of the applicant? I do. I can't tell you that I paid enough attention when I'm driving by, but are you prepared to do the landscaping and some screening if there's some missing?
Yes, of course.
And do you currently have the handicap signs up?
At the moment, no.
And you know you got to get those up, right?
Okay, yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Dreer. How long you been in business there then already?
At that location,
Yes.
little over a year.
Okay. So the recommendations of the handicap signs have not changed, I don't think, have it? Have they, staff? Since a year ago?
No, that's what was required at the time.
So it's been a year and he still hasn't done them?
Well, they were there when we signed off.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Sir, you've been in business at this location for about a year. Does that indicate that you were in business somewhere else within the city prior to that day?
In Kansas City, Missouri, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this case? City, do we have anybody?
No.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak against this case? No one? Okay. Then are there any other questions of the applicant? Okay, then I am going to close the public hearing. No gavel. Should get a bell or something. Commissioners, is there any discussion that you want to have or motion?
To city staff, what would be your time frame for going out there to determine if there's anything missing from your prior recommendations to meet city requirements?
I mean, in any time, we just need to go out there and check. I mean, those things are not actually tied to the rezoning. They're actually an ongoing. We can't legally tie
Okay,
conditions to this rezoning.
I was going to ask if,
These have to do with the previous site plan that was approved a year ago.
okay, the reason why I asked is I was going to ask if we could put a stipulation that anything out of compliance would be corrected within 30 or 60 days or whatever would be deemed reasonable, but that does not seem to be appropriate.
Yeah. You can't do that. You can't condition a rezoning.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I would entertain a motion if we are out of questions.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Preston?
in the case of case number 20-100-0 rezoning of Manuel Cardoza at 1026 West 23rd Street South from C2 to C3. I move for approval.
There a second?
I second.
Is that
Who was
Rick?
the second? Who was it, Rick?
No,
Joe?
Heather didn't get it that time.
I didn't get it.
did we do,
It was
did we?
Weir? It was Weir? Okay.
Yes, it's Commissioner Weir. So the motion was made by Commissioner Preston. The second was made by Commissioner Weir on case number 2100-10, rezoning of 1026 West 23rd Street. Is there any discussion on the motion? And will the city do roll call, please?
Commissioner Dreer,
Yes,
Commissioner Preston,
Yes,
Commissioner Michelle,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Commissioner Weir,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
and Chairman McLean.
Yes. Case number 20-100-10 has passed. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next case is case 20-100-11, rezoning of 1450 West Lexington Avenue. Tim O'Neill and Amy Jacobson seek to rezone the property from District 1, I1 Industrial and R6 Single Family Residential to District C-1 Neighborhood Commercial. So will the city give us the report, please?
Yes, we're looking at the vicinity map here for the proposed conversion. Basically, that's where this just west of where the split is, where Chrysler goes to the south and Lexington turns westward and becomes Winter Road. And this is right across from the funeral home that's just a block or so west of Chrysler there. Jacobson Art and Design seeks to rezone this property, which is at 1450 West Lexington Avenue, from I-1 Industrial and R6 Single Family, there's a little sliver of that on the side, to C1 Neighborhood Commercial to permit artisan manufacturing in a live workspace. So as you can see, my circle is there. The building is on the main part of the lot to the back. This is actually two properties where the good portion of the parking lot is on that smaller lot up front that has a little bit of that R6 on the property. You've got C1 across the street, and you've got more commercial zonings over by Chrysler, and then everything going westward toward Winter Road is single family residential. This is a comprehensive plan. It envisions this entire area as residential neighborhood. So as we look at the aerial photograph here, you can see that existing paved lot. It looks gravel, but it's paved lot there. And you can see that's two lots, the larger lot being behind there. You've got the railroad track to the north, and of course there's more industrial across behind the track there. Funeral home is what's directly to the south. You got some office buildings and storage buildings and crematorium, things associated with that funeral home there at the east, and then of course residential uses to the west. So this hasn't been done yet. This is a simulation of what the existing building would look, what they want to do to it. This site would work well for the applicant's purposes for a live workspace and for the artisan woodworking and sculpturing that would go on there. C1 zoning permits artisan manufacturing uses in the same structure as a residential living component. Thus the request for the C1. Plus they could also do like a gallery or retail component to that as well. Okay, this is the main floor where the metal shop for their table bases and their large sculptural work would be done. And then this is the basement for that could be used as the woodworking artisan shop. And then the second floor here would be the is the residential level up top. Here's a sample of some of the sculptures that he provided us and some of the woodwork and furniture work. And then this is how he envisions the area out by the parking lot there as an outdoor sculpture area and of course, and landscaped garden area out in front of the building. Of course, the building permit approval would be required, and with that, we would require a landscaping plan and plantings that would be installed per code, or any additional he wanted to do on top of that, and that would be reviewed at that time. This is just a copy of the survey showing his ownership and the footprint of the building. Okay, this is looking at the way it looks right now, looking north from the funeral home across Lexington. And this is just another view of it, looking northwest at it. And then this is the east side of it. You can see an old house there that's actually now an office use for the funeral home. You can see the crematorium back there. Some more office and storage related structures. And here's the main funeral home building here, looking at it from the west, looking to the east. And then this is looking west on the south side of Lexington. And then this is the residential properties immediately to the west of the applicant's property. Staff recommends approval of this rezoning case and ready to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioners have any questions of city staff?
Is this the appropriate time to ask questions of the applicant or just city staff?
City staff, and then when we bring the applicant up, you can ask the applicant once we introduce them. Or
Thank
he
you.
introduces himself.
I'll hold my questions.
If the applicant would like to go ahead and unmute and introduce yourself and give your address as well. And if you both want to speak, both of you give your name and address.
I'm Tim O'Neill,
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
and we are married and live at 1830 South Sterling Avenue right now.
Thank you. So give us any more information you think would add to what the city's already done and what things you have planned.
That was a pretty, comprehensive high-level overview. We would like to move, we're right down the street at 1830 Sterling. We'd like to put, our shops in the 2 lower floors as outlined, and then convert that upper office space, or it's empty right now, but to a sort of a loft. And I think it's a beautiful shell, and I think it would be really interesting, and we hope we would add value to the neighborhood. It kind of dovetails with the Inglewood Arts Initiative, and so we're excited to, I don't know if partner is the right word, but be part of that momentum. And I don't know, what questions do you have, I suppose?
My only questions, it looks like a really interesting project. So, I know this part of the community very well. So thank you for your interest in expanding here. It does leads me a little bit to believe that is this really just you two, your personal operations, or are there other artists that may come? Because I'm just looking at your floor plans, it looks like community tools, individual workspaces. Could this become more of a cooperative where you get lease or give space to other artists that would join you and work in the same space with you?
Yes, the goal would be to not a cooperative shop. Well, let's see, I'll speak for the wood shop right now, and then I'll let Amy visit about the metal space. It wouldn't be like a community shop where everybody could come in and use the table saw, but more like a cooperative shop where 3 or 4 people that I know would rent space and have a corner of the booth or a corner of the basement for their dedicated bench, and then we would share the bigger tools. So it wouldn't be available to the public at large as much as a monthly rental for some people.
Understood. And you have both the top floor, which would be your personal residence moving forward, as well as some other residential space on the main floor.
There's an existing apartment on the main floor. It's not really, it's office space, but it has like a little kitchenette. And so we thought that could be used as possibly a place for like a visiting artist who might come and stay for 6 weeks and work in the sculpture studio or the woodworking shop, or family visit and stay in that space if it's not being used. So there's a possibility of that, but that's not the main living area, and that's not what we're focused on for a living space. Mm-hmm. For the top level would be our living space.
We would probably live in that area during the remodel, which, while we hope it's very brief, money.
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you. That's the only questions I had.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Preston. This project seems to harken back to a bygone era where artisans and shop owners and storekeepers operated their business on the main level and lived above. I have to confess, it kind of gives me giggles. But tell me a little bit about the production side again, and the visiting artisans and just the general layout.
So for the metal shop, I'm the metal worker, and so the metal shop is actually my space. And so I currently build sculptures, and I'm involved in several public art pieces. I've done some public art pieces, but I also do a lot of furniture pieces. Tim is part owner in the Urban Lumber Company, which is a local business that they mill wood, and they do and they do woodworking projects. So we team up a lot, and so there is some production work as far as creating furniture pieces, where we do a lot of those pieces. My shop does a lot of those pieces. I have a couple of assistants. But then the big sculpture projects are my main focus. But it is a full metal shop. It is welders and saws and cutting equipment and a little CNC. So, you know, and I hope for it to grow as far as equipment, and I will always have a few employees as far as assistants around. There is a possibility that I could take on like Tim, who's going to rent out wood shop space in the basement to specific woodworkers. There is a possibility that we could take on like a shop mate in my space, but it would never be like a whole bunch of different people, because I need the space myself for my work. So it would be possible that there's another metal worker that may come in and share the space. And then as far as something like a resident artist, because we are interested in being part of what's going on in Inglewood with the art district there, and wanting to cooperate with them and bring sculptures and artisans in. We thought, we don't know for sure, but one possible plan has been that we might be able to create with them like an artist in residency program where somebody gets to come in, stay for several weeks and do work in the shop, and either as an assistant on a big project or build their own project, or a combination of those things. So that's one possible road that we could take with the space.
I certainly don't profess to have any expertise. In high school, I almost took a shop, but I didn't. So tell me a little bit more about the growth of it and maximum numbers of persons that, if you were just busy as all outdoors, what would be the maximum number of persons frequenting from a craftsman's point of view? And your customer base, how do you market? That is, do you have your customers come to you, or do you outplace your artwork, or how do you do this? And where do they come?
So we do want to have a little gallery space in the building. We do, the floor plan that's up right now shows an area that could have a showroom and gallery space that people could come to see the work, to see artwork. And also we'd like to have sculptures out in the garden space out front. So we want to create a place that people would want to come and check out the work. And but most of my clients are at this point, a lot of my clients are actually cities. I sell a public art piece to a city. So these are things that I apply for through calls for art all over the country. So I do have private clients as well. I work with a gallery that brings me private clients. Sometimes it's just word of mouth. And we would hope to have some gallery space that people would come in. But and we may have an event now and then once social distancing is passed us by. We may have an event where we have 50 people coming in to see some work. But it wouldn't, as far as like on a daily basis, the shop may have 3 or 4 people max working in the shop, in the metal shop on a daily basis. I don't imagine ever having more than just a few people at a time that are like working, and it would never be something that's probably lots of public coming in and out on a daily basis.
Similar with the wood shop, I couldn't imagine more than 5 or 6 people at any given point, and probably 3 to 4 primary people that may have an assistant bop in to help them do something, but certainly not and there would be no wood storefront as far as, there'd be no public access or interest in anything with the wood shop. It would be for people in the know, like the 4 or 5 people that would rent perhaps, or 3 or 4.
It appears that this may add substantial value to the emerging art district and also to that area specifically. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm assuming parking is not an issue. And I'm also assuming that this location really makes it easier for like larger trucks to get in for you to get your products out, right?
Yes, and materials as well. So there will be trucks that do come in on occasion to bring in materials. I do have it like, you know, I order steel and there is a steel truck that will come in and bring me, you know, just bring me the raw materials on occasion.
Once a week, once every other week.
Yeah, right now I have a steel truck that comes twice a month at the most.
Yeah, I love that location. Are there any other questions of the applicants? Staff, do we have anyone who would like to speak in favor of this?
No.
Do we have anybody who would like to speak against it?
No.
Okay. Well, then, does any other commissioners have any more questions of staff or the applicant? Nope. I would entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
in the matter of case 20-100-11, rezoning of 1450 West Lexington Avenue from District I-1 Industrial and R6 Single Family Residential to District C1 Neighborhood Commercial, I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
And I did this a little backwards, but the public hearing portion of this is closed. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Staff, would you do a roll, please?
Commissioner Dreer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Michelle,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Commissioner Weir,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
Chairman McLean.
Yes. Case number 20-100-11, rezoning of 1450 West Lexington Avenue has been passed. Best of luck. I'm like Commissioner Preston, a little giddy. I think it's very exciting. I'm super excited what's happening to Inglewood. And I'll be your first live-in artist. I'll learn the wall to do whatever you tell me to do. And I bet Heather will be right behind me.
Second. I'm second.
Very cool. Come on over. Thank
So
you.
thank you. Thank you for your investment.
Perhaps I might take that shop course that I almost took in high school.
You're all
I'm
welcome.
glad I
Thank you very
spoke
much.
up first.
Good luck to you.
Good luck.
Thank
Thank you. Okay. Moving to case number 20-175-03, UDO amendment number 44, donation bins. Diddy, you want to talk about this?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So what is before you tonight is a proposed development or UDO change to our ordinances in regards to donation bins. What really started this was council had asked staff to take a look at our current donation bin ordinance and how that relates to some of our neighboring cities. Blue Springs had recently put in place a donation ordinance that requires a permit for anybody placing bins on their property. And so staff took a look at our existing ordinance and basically came to the proposals that we have before you today. I'll go through kind of just our staff report, may not be verbatim, but just kind of cover the topics and then we can have some questions afterwards. So the biggest changes with our current donation bin ordinance is we actually took out out of section 14400 what we had in there and actually created its own section. We felt that we had enough information to do that. And so there was a lot of strike throughs for the existing 14400 section and then placed it in a section called donation bins. What this really main focus of this was to add a permitting requirement for the current donation bins. We did add some clarifications for standards, bin material, some signage and maintenance, and then we did add, which is essentially the violation section of the code in this donation bin section. We did go a little bit further, and then we did add some public safety sections of this code for what we're calling donation centers, which are more permanent businesses of donations, such as thrift stores or nonprofit organizations. Part of this code update includes some definition changes in Article 2, as well as a permit fee under the current fee schedule. So again, this code basically tries to put Independence in line with our neighboring cities. Both Blue Springs and City of Lee Summit do have permitting requirements in place for businesses placing donation bins. Some of the things that did not change, we did not change the requirements as to where and the number and the size of the donation bins, but we did want to clarify that the responsibility of the maintenance of the bins are on the bin owners. We did outline areas for standards in terms of how it should be kept and making sure that the signage is in place to make it a clear indication of items that should be in the bins, as well as making sure that if a business, for example, went out of business, that the bins would be removed at the end of that business. We did include in this code update changes to require that a business that has donation bins on their property have an active business license. So kind of moving on, basically staff, as I said, made sure that we put in some specifications as to who would be responsible for the cleanup. We would have to provide a permit if this were to get approved that would clearly identify the bin owner. Currently, right now, we don't really have a way to track that. We essentially have in the code property maintenance items that we can enforce, but we don't have any way to actually know who the bins are owned by or any contact information in regards to that. The next part of this was to add some security to existing what we're calling donation bin centers, or donation centers, excuse me. And these would basically be existing businesses that are in place, thrift stores, for example. And what we wanted to do here was to make sure that we have proper lighting and video surveillance capabilities in these areas to try to prevent any vandalism and or illegal dumping. Basically, with these, we feel that this is an ordinance that's putting us in line a little bit better with our neighboring cities, but also that it can better serve our businesses and the adjacent properties where donation bins are placed. And as I mentioned, basically this particular UDO change affects Article 2, Article 4, and then our fee schedule. We did put in place a permit that has a $25 permit fee that would have to be updated annually. And so with that, I will take any questions.
Okay, anyone have any questions?
Yes, I recall we had substantial discussion on the topic of bins. I remember the chair, wasn't chair at that time, had tremendous concerns and was tremendously troubled by bins that were essentially abandoned and just posed a lot of difficulty because there was no tracking. Bins were put out. So to see that we are finally making the move to put in place reasonable ordinances, I'm delighted.
Yeah, I am too. I think that the permitting, making them get a business permit makes
Yes.
sense. Just because it is a business, and then you have tracking as well, because yeah, it was a nightmare trying to get a hold of anybody because you didn't know who to call.
Deny.
This is Virginia. Didn't we, at that meeting that Billy is talking about, didn't we decide that they had to put signage on the side of the container with the phone number on it? Did I remember that wrong?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Virginia, I believe that.
Correct.
I think that is part of our current ordinance, Virginia. So
Okay,
we've kept
thank
all
you.
that stuff.
I
And just kind of
looked
be.
through it. I didn't see it.
But there was
Yeah,
no registration, no licensing, no permitting. If it were not just absolutely horrendous, it just passed and we moved on. I think we simply lacked any enforcement mechanism or any control mechanism. So obviously this is a step in the right direction, and we'll see what happens next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are really good moves.
I'm sorry, this is Rick. Didn't they pay like $45,000 just to clean out that or dredge that over there by Hy-Vee, Salvation Army, and get a bunch of clothes and junk out of that area, all clogged up from that area? This past couple months?
I don't know.
I would have to look into that. I don't have any costs.
We've got, because what they were doing is over there, scavenging throughout the night, and you'd see all kinds of trash over in that area. So, yeah, they were pulling out all kinds of stuff out of that dredged area over there that clogged up all that drainage.
If they don't have cameras now, how long are you giving them till they can get cameras, or till they are required to have them?
So this proposed ordinance right now has it July 1st to be in compliance with that.
Okay. Any other questions?
What I didn't get to read all of this, but what is the enforcement mechanism? I.e. those that quote unquote grandfathered in, but we permitted to come up to the code. And if they don't, do we call in the metal recycling firm to recycle the bin, or what do we do? Because right now we don't even know who might own it.
So this particular ordinance would actually reinforce, and again, understand that the violation portion is added to this new section, which is essentially part of the same chapter 14. It would basically be giving a notice of violation and the appropriate time to address that particular matter. There is a portion in here that the city, after a period of time, can basically consider that donation bin rubbish and have it removed. And then, of course, that would therefore be a cost that the city would have to recover through enforcement action.
This is good. Well done. I will take a motion if we are out of questions.
Technically, you do have to open and close the public hearing, though.
Oh,
Madam
yeah.
Chair.
Sorry.
You're fine.
The public hearing is now closed. I feel like I should snap or something. I don't know what. The public hearing is now closed, and I would take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Preston.
in the matter of case number 2022-175-03 UDO Amendment Number 44, donation bins and donation centers, new regulations. I move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second. Rick?
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. Can we do roll call, please?
Commissioner Dreer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Michelle,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Commissioner Weir, Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
and Chairwoman McLean.
Yes. Case number 20-175-03, UDO Amendment Number 44, on donation bins has passed. Thank you, thank you. Okay. The minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Are there any changes?
Nope.
Okay, if you'll all unmute, and if you agree that the minutes stand as written, say aye.
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 Any noes?
Aye.
I just had to ask. I mean, felt like the right thing to do. Okay. Any announcements from the staff that we need to know, or?
Nope, nothing really. I get other than we are getting to that time of year when we just have one meeting per month in November and December because of the holidays. So our next meeting will be November 17th.
Is everybody sad about that?
Will it still
I guess
be
so.
virtual?
So assuming that this case is heard on that date, that will be our hybrid meeting where you are invited to attend in person if you wish. Otherwise, you can obviously continue to attend virtually, and that will allow the public, to attend in person in council chambers if they choose to. So, and that'll be fluid, just so you all know. If it were to be continued again, we would, continue that hybrid meeting to that case, or to that meeting when that case is heard. So, but at this point, we assume that case will be heard in November. So,
Okay. So you'll keep us updated, in other words.
that is correct. Yep.
Okay. Any announcements from commissioners or anything you'd like to share?
Happy Halloween.
Oh my gosh, I kind of forgot. I've moved on to Thanksgiving somehow. Well, happy Halloween to everybody, and get out and vote if you haven't already.
Already have.
It's here.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's that wonderful time of the year. All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Have a good
Bye.
week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
This meeting is adjourned.